Good evening. Welcome. Well, good evening, bad evening. I don't even know how we introduced this, but I'm just going to get the main man, Steph, onto this after that absolute... Steph, I think we call it a massacre tonight in Oriel Park, do we? Another team from the West coming over and taking us. Steph, don't even show your face. Just hang it. I don't have a hoodie on me. Folks, we're not annoyed over this. I haven't even bothered changing my T-shirt. I haven't even put on my Townend top. I haven't put on the Dundalk jersey. I just wanted to get into this podcast straight away. We're already up to 30, 40 people watching this already. It's... Steph, we had a podcast last week. I know you went there yourself. We were a day in Massey in Oriel Park, and I made a probably a tongue-in-cheek remark that teams from the West, when they come over, because the last time we were live was Sligo, the night with Mark Rossiter on was Sligo, myself, yourself, and I made a kind of flippant remark at the time that Galway again had come over from the West, turned us over, and we're interviewing another legend in day in Massey. And then here we are 10 days later, no game last Friday night, and we've been absolutely... I don't even know what the word is. And we've had some shockers. Yeah. That was an absolute annihilation. And, people you can talk about the weather, you can talk about, but that was beyond, it was beyond embarrassing.
Yeah, it was an absolute disgrace, to be honest with you. Everything about it was just so bad. You think after the match getting postponed at the weekend, boys would be fresh and boys would be raring to go. Look, we all know the conditions weren't great, but both teams had to deal with it. And if anything, we had the wind in the first half. We just played into their hands. We went long, overshot everything. They played some nice, neat balls, but you can't defend some of the play out there. It was just starting off. I don't understand that team selection for a start.
Yeah.
We've gone 4-4-2 straight off the bat. I said to one of the lads I was sitting with, it looks like Benson's playing the 10. That's okay, but Scott High was playing right side of midfield, which didn't make sense to me. Walker, unfortunately for me, I've watched him a couple of times now, but I don't think he's up to pace with whether the quality's not there or whatever. But the 3 games I've seen him now, he struggled badly in possession, out of possession, positional play, in every sense of the word. He's been poor. But then Hayden Muller comes on and replaces him at left full, and he's definitely not a left full, but just get your basics right. He played 2 square balls that led to big chances. I'm not sure if one of them might have led to a goal. You can just pick out everyone. Andy Boyle, have you ever seen him playing as bad?
Yeah. We hate, and you don't want to be scrutinising. And look, at the end of the day, you play for the team, you play professional football, an experienced player like Andy, but you don't want to be scrutinising people like Andy because they've been around a long time. But at the same time, Jesus, it was
there's no defending anyone.
There really isn't.
Durant came on and looked a bit lively, but look, you can pick holes in him as well because he probably should have scored. But look, Doyle was non-existent. Benson was running around, but I don't know. It's hard to defend. It's hard to be a Stevie O'Donnell supporter tonight, and I probably backed him to the hilt, and it's hard to defend him there. I don't know, just something that annoyed me, but at the end of the game, the players were instructed to go and clap the shed. They're after getting absolutely fucking battered, and I don't know what that was all about, but look, you can go right through it. Keepers made 3 errors for 3 goals. Andy Boyle was indecisive at times, screwing balls off. Archie Davis probably okay. I don't know. They were raiding down the left an awful lot. Fitzgerald, who had a bad knee injury last year, this was his first start. He was lively. I think Hutchison's the best left back in the league. I think he's a quality player, but do you know what I mean? We were looking at this game going, we started well against Rovers, picked up a point, didn't think we were going to get it. By all accounts, the terrible performance against Galway, but there was signs that we'd score goals. And then you come to tonight and you're thinking, yeah, look, we're home. It's a Monday night there after travelling all day to come up here. It's shite weather. We're at home.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And you know what the real shot? I'm just looking at these comments coming in. There's people who would comment on this podcast all the time, and you'd see on Twitter, and like ourselves, we've always backed the manager. We've always backed him, and it's really, I don't know if the tide's turning now, but I don't want to quote anybody, but there's a guy called Stephen Carty, known to the people. He's out in Malta at the minute. He had basically texted me, and I'm going to copyright him because I don't want to be taking his words out of his context. But it's ironic that Shevlin's have sponsored the game tonight, and are we looking at the final nail in the Stephen O'Donnell coffin tonight after that performance? What I've noticed in off the comments is people who would normally be very subdued and very kind of optimistic and very balanced in their comments, and even on Twitter, not just here tonight. We leave Frank Carroll, Jason Crawley, Mark Carolyn as well. We've mentioned different things, but there seems to be a real uproar now over tonight. And we are aware that this is a live post-match podcast. We're talking, what are we talking? 45 minutes since the game ended, maybe 40 minutes. So it is raw, but that tonight, Steph, is just like, we weren't even that bad in Galway. I mean, when you consider the cup game last year, that was just another, and everybody has a bad night. Look, we know this, but things just aren't clicking, especially when you said there rightly, the team selection. I know Gullen might have had a great game last week, but we're only 3 games into the league. I mean, you've changed your striker straight out the gate. Kane doesn't start. Like you said, a 4-4-2. We made 6 subs. How did we get away with 6 subs? Did everybody miss something in the game? We made 3 sets of double changes. We had a chance to make an extra player on the field, and we still couldn't make that work.
I don't know what the rules was. I was half talking to Ross in the car on the way home, thinking maybe you can make an extra one with a keeper, but it doesn't really make sense, to be honest with you. I know. I thought it was 5 subs, but you could only make them in like 3 slots because teams were taking advantage of it. Bringing players on in injury time one at a time and using up the subs. But yeah, look, it's hard to pick out anybody. We were from the kickoff. I looked at the kickoff and we played the ball right back to the goalkeeper to launch the ball up. And it was overhit, and Elliott is running towards their goal and trying to get a flick on. But who is he flicking the ball on to? Well, the couple of times he got the ball out wide, it was crossed into the box, and Elliott's about 30-40 yards from goal because he's trying to link up the play. Basically everything. I don't understand the zonal marking from corners. We put like 5 or 6 people inside the 6-yard box, even if they've only one attacker on the keeper. Twice or 3 times they were dangerous from set pieces, and other teams, will take advantage of that. We've Pats at the weekend or on Friday night. So it's up in Richmond. I know they haven't had the best start, but they're probably rubbing their hands together, saying they can probably kickstart the season now because they have us on Friday night.
Just for clarity on the 6th sub there, sorry Steph, there seems to be, I think they're saying that concussion, it's a concussion sub, which I did think a concussion sub at the time was the only reason it could have been, but I didn't know. I think Frank is sitting there, and when they're saying they don't know if it's the keeper or if that's meant to be because of the first half he had. I don't really know what the story is, but I know there is an extra sub with a concussion, but I wasn't aware there was one.
Shelby must have got concussed in the
warm-up. There we
go,
Adam Massacre, yeah. So I obviously wasn't aware of that at the time, but yeah, it was a strange one. 3 double subs. I didn't actually see it until Donal put it into the group.
Yeah, we were sort of saying that, and the 4 goal went in the first half, and I took up your spot in the stand because of the weather conditions. The turn end got abandoned tonight, but we went up to the stand. Zach came with me. He's only 8, so I'm using that as an excuse. We're up in the stand, but the moans and groans, and the 4 goal went in, and there was a few calls for Stevie to go. So I don't know if it's going to be you can't even call it a knee-jerk reaction because the 2 games at home now this season, while beaten against Galway, and that there tonight was just fucking.
And I think it comes off because we've had, obviously, we weren't on last Friday, so we didn't really mention Martin Connolly leaving, and that this result comes off the back of that, and it kind of just, I think even the likes of Drogheda announcement this morning, buying Weavers Park and now they own their ground. I think that's all culminated in a really shit performance from the Dundalk tonight. So I don't know. We haven't even got into the Martin Conley thing, or not that we don't know, but it's disappointing to see. But it's just been a torrid kind of almost 2 weeks now at the minute, because we're going from the Galway game to tonight. We'd have no game Friday. We Pats this Friday night. It's a real. I mean, I know. Look, we're obviously massive. There's massive comments in tonight for managers and blah blah blah. But is that where we are now? Is that something that we really need to consider? Because in fairness to some of the people that have commented, they've been commenting probably since last summer. Some of them may be saying that it's time for a change, and we kind of. It's not that we ignore it. It's not that. It's just we're always given benefit of the time. We always want to see managers kind of be given a proper crack at it.
Yeah, nobody wants to see a manager getting sacked. Nobody wants to see anybody losing their job. But like I was a bit fearful when I seen the squad being formed and players coming in late, and we talked about the loan signings again. And look, it's easy to say it after that performance there, but Jack McCardle, I don't know if you know him. He'd be a good fan of the podcast. He put out his predictions at the start of the year saying we finished mid-table, and I messaged him on Twitter saying, I'd take 8th place off you right now. And it's probably 8th place is probably looking quite good at the minute, but just everything about that performance tonight, there was no sort of glimmer of hope where you could go, that's something we can build on for next week. Even Sligo, they were taking on 16 or 17, 18-year-olds, Elding, and they were dropping Fitzgerald back to left back when he's an out-and-out winger and stuff like that. They were trying stuff in the last 20 minutes because the game was well gone. We've seen a few people mention about Mountney as well up in the commentary box. So, even the likes of that, you're naming a club captain, and if he's not going to be right for the season, name him as vice captain or whatever you want to do. But we all said it was a strange sort of decision given the minutes he played last season, the season before as well. So,
but is it even? I know maybe we're looking back on it now with the angry heads on us, but is it even? A club captain, should he probably even be commentating on the game, regardless of his injury? Should he be in the dressing room? Should he be there in the stand? I don't really know. You're still involved with the football and you've been at that level, but look, I know we're probably nitpicking now because of the result that's coming. But is it probably even wrong? Is that even a silly decision in itself to have that?
Yeah. Well, look, he's played. I know. Look, he's come back from a serious injury and whatever, but he's played 2 full matches for the under-20s now, so. You think he'd be getting involved in the first team match now if he's going to be involved this season. If he was playing 20 minutes for the under-20s or something like that and working his way back up to play 2 full games, it's just a strange one all around. But yeah, look, I think Mark said not one leader on the pitch. The sort of senior pros that we had in the team, Boyler's not really a talker. You wouldn't say Benson is either. The rest of them, you're looking around at it's a far cry from when we had leaders all over the pitch, not too long ago as well. So
yeah, Stephen does make a decent point there. He made some cracking points in the Lily White Lads Friday night as well. Look, and there we go. Frank has said, that it's things like this that really frustrate you. We've had this probably for the last, I won't say since day one, but definitely for the last 18 months, there's been some really strange decisions and, lineups, like you said, and, maybe probably strange substitutions as well. If these players are fit, why are they not playing? There's an idea in it, but Sligo Rovers, we knew coming before they came to town tonight, they're no idiots. They play, John Russell plays a really good brand of football. Max Mad alone. Chapman was excellent tonight. That's the first time we've really had a proper look at him. He stood out like a sore thumb tonight. The link between the two was excellent. But at the same time, we were woeful. We just couldn't. Yeah. Actually, we never caught pace of the game at all.
Yeah, every single one of them, Hartman, they all got the fucking Freedom Memorial Park tonight, though. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I thought Morahan was excellent in the middle. He snuffed out a lot for them as well. But like if you were looking at them tonight, you'd think they were title challengers there. But I watched them on Friday night when they played Chelsea, and I was thinking, they'll struggle to score goals. I'm after saying that after us getting beat 5-0, but they were playing against Chelsea, and Chelsea marched them excellently. Now, look, we know how well oiled they are, but like, I don't know if Sligo had a decent effort on goal in that match. There a couple of corners, but they really struggled to break them down. And I was thinking, they're coming up here on a Monday night up to Oriel Park after travelling a couple of hours, and look, I know they're professional or whatever else, but you still have to do the travelling during the day in the League of Ireland. And I was thinking, this is set up for us to, get a few points on the board now, get our first win at home. Because I thought down the bottom half of the table it'd be ourselves, Drogheda.
Yeah.
I thought Waterford and Galway might be mid-table, and I thought Sligo and Bohs, just with recruitment and different things like that. And I thought, these home games are going to be massive for us. But there's 2 home games now, 2 losses, and 2-0 and a 5-0 doesn't make for great reading. And we sort of said, we'd hope the Rovers game wasn't, the typical first opening game of the season, free hit. Yeah. Nobody's expecting us to do anything, and we pick up a point after going ahead. But there's 3 games now, and we've 1 goal from a free kick that you said the goalkeeper was really bad for, Gally. So, we haven't really created much. Durant's chance, he probably should have scored. I thought he looked offside from where I was.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
He wasn't flagged, so he tried to flick it with the outside of foot, I think. But apart from that, you're struggling to really find any opportunities we had.
And if it's not a lot of people there comment on the fitness and they didn't look fit, I don't even know if it's the fitness. I just think it's. I don't want to be commenting this. Yeah, it shouldn't be. I mean, it really shouldn't be. I mean, is it just? And I think I said this last year. I can't remember the game, but it was almost like the subs have been put on for the sake of being put on. There seems to be no kind of, like you said, 4-4-2 at the start. Players that probably should have been starting didn't start. We scored 1 goal. Like you said, we kind of got ahead of ourselves. Maybe. Well, I don't think we got ahead of ourselves after the Rovers match. But now we've played 2 games. God knows what would have happened daily last Friday night. We've now played 2 games and we haven't scored. And we've a lot. There's. I use talent in quotes. I don't be saying we've got this and we've got that, but Sligo Rovers, like you say, coming to town, it's a spin coming over. But after within 30 seconds, you could see what Max, Matt, and Chapman were at. I mean, they opened Mayo and Andy Boyle wide open after I think it was about 25, 30 seconds, and that was the kind of onslaught just continued. Then it was like because we started so bad. Now, in the first couple of minutes of the second half, we played a little bit better, but I'm being very generous there. But
the game's done at 4-0.
Yeah, it's hit the hope then.
But what I noticed myself was Sligo was most dangerous when we had the ball, because when they turned it over, then they were attacking us straight away and they were going direct into Mata. Like you said, what Chapman was playing off him, Hartman was coming in on his left. Fitzgerald was out on the left-hand side as well, causing problems. So the turnover was looking at the 2 centre-halves and they looked to be ball-watching. Mata was finding the space in between them and they were just sliding it through. 2 or 3 times, there was a few last-ditch challenges. And, even when we were playing around at the back, every pass seemed like it was forced and someone had to struggle to take a touch. And there was one passage of play in the first half went across the back 4. I don't know, the keeper might have touched as well, but it went from Mayowa to Boyle to the left full. Can't think of his name. Davies, is it? No, not Davies. The left full. He's been that bad. I can't even remember his name. Walker. Jeez. And he takes a bad touch and then he hooks it straight over the top to the keeper. And I was thinking, he's going to get hooked off here. And fucking, to get hooked off in the first half, Like, it's bad enough to get hooked at halftime. You can't even go back out there and trying to fucking, you know, put a bit of respect on it. But to get hooked off in the first half, you know, that says a lot.
There's probably not yet.
Two substitutions in the first half, 2 at halftime, and look, the keeper who come on done okay. He'd no chance with the last goal, but he done okay. But for a keeper to get whipped off at half times, like, it doesn't even seem like the same keeper from the Rovers game, does it?
No, and it's probably compounded. Yeah, like you say, off at half time, there's nothing probably more embarrassing because the keeper sticks out like a sore thumb. It'd be different if you're a striker and you've missed 4 penalties in the first half. You know, like a keeper really sticks out a lot more on that end of the field, and because of the way the goal, in particular the second one, had gone in as well. It's
the indecisiveness of the third as well. Like, I thought he could have just came, you know, clear house, fucking take man ball, everything. That's, you know, and then he just stands off and then it slid into the far corner. Like, you're just going. The second goal is just a fucking horror show. Like, that's going to be on fucking a bloopers fucking show tomorrow.
And I mean, it was one of them that it seemed to be. It's a classic one, like where it wallops to keep up, and it seems to go in slow motion. You almost, when you watch it back, you almost think, how has he not gotten to his feet and just grabbed it? It happens that kind of slow.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's the whip of the ball or the wind, but look, at the end of the day, he spilt it and it's gone into the net. Like Rory Gilson gets right to the point here, Steph. Now, we had said this. There was a game at the end of last season. I think Dundalk might have been on, and we kind of spoke about this before, and we kind of wondered how far into the season you'd get. Now, I don't know. I'm on the fence. I don't know if we're quite at this level just yet. But at the same time, Friday night, we could be sitting here Friday night saying, right, we're there. You know, depending on goals. I think, it's with the week that's been, you know, in Oriel Park with Martin Connolly going, and then, you know, you've had a disruption with the game at the weekend, but that's still no excuse. But the same thing keeps happening here, and the same questions keep getting asked. Stephen O'Donnell is, like Stephen Todd had said, and I think somebody else had said, there seems to be no plan. There seems to be no kind of, you know, not that there's no structure, but we signed these players and they seem like, you know, hungry players who want to come in, and they're coming in from what is supposedly a higher level at League One, coming in on loan, wherever it is. And he doesn't seem to have this cohesiveness where we can name an 11. Like, we're as shocked as anybody, like you'd said right out the bat, at tonight's lineup in Oriel Park. You know, the only excuse is really injury. I mean, if you're changing that kind of setup, you know, I don't think they've done. I think Galway last week had a good game. Even Dundalk created chances, but we didn't create anything tonight. So on the part of, you know, sticking or twisting, you know, not to put you on the spot, but do you kind of say, right, we're going to, you know, with the games coming up, I'd be on the fence thinking, right, we'll give it maybe another game. But I don't even know. We're definitely not in a position where you can say, right, let's see what we're doing 6 games down the line. I don't think we're gone past that stage now. I think we really are at, you know, we're knocking on the door now, in my opinion. You know, not we. It's up to, you know, the powers that be up in Oriel Park. But as someone who's watching in on the game, I definitely think there's serious questions need to be asked now. I really do. I think we're at that stage now where you can see it, and it's not from these aren't blow-in fans that are commenting. These are all people that watched Oriel Park, have been in Oriel Park, and are well-known, well-versed and watching games. They know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But it's getting to that stage, isn't it?
Yeah. It's all the pain fans, and, you know, it's hard to argue with anything you said there. I think big questions have to be answered now. So, look, I've probably been his biggest cheerleader since he's come in. And look, it's got to that stage where it's hard to defend. That starting 11, I said it straight away. I don't know, when it came out, like, it looked very defensive first of all, and then when I seen it shaping up in a 4-4-1-1 possibly with Benson just behind Elliott, I was like, what's going on here? Like, how he was playing out right now. Look, is that just putting him in there because he wants to start him? Like, he's not a right-sided player. How many we a couple of right wingers on the bench. You can play Hogan on the right-hand side as well. So look, I don't know Sharon's giving out to me saying I'm cursing an awful lot, but it's hard not to after that. After going and watching that, paying in to watch that. But yeah, look, it's spade to spade. He's under massive pressure. I thought he when we went in 4-0 at half time, he said if it gets any worse than this, you'd be, if you were him, you'd be fearing for your job in the morning. But
I think especially
the only thing before you jump on here and say anything else is, like, you do get rid of him. You just look at that squad and say, can anybody do it with that? Like, no offense to some of the players that's in there, but if you have a couple of loan signings and things aren't going your way, them boys start to think to themselves, get me out of here quickly, or that's exactly it. Donald Green said it. Like, who comes in and who's going to come in that's really going to G up that squad? And maybe if you can't even say like a fresh start, because we're 3 games into the season and a lot of the squad is fresh as well, like fresh players into the team. Like, if you go through that starting 11, there's a lot of players that are only playing their first season with the club. So look, we're in a bad spot. We're bottom of the league.
And Michael's right. We said that as well. We had a lot of people, and at the time I kind of thought to myself, I think we're being a wee bit harsh here. But I mean, look, these comments had come in maybe 8-9 months ago, and people were, and I kind of thought at the time it was, maybe a little bit, are we being a wee bit harsh because of the team he has? But then look, you're now a new season. You've ended the season on a bit of a downer with the Galway game at the Cup especially, but I tell you, this is a boy we just put straight on the spot straight away. He wasn't even at the game tonight, but he doesn't need to be at the game. And Shane McGuoch is right. John O'Shea will be available in 2 months. So will Brian Kale, by all accounts.
Chris never heard the score. We won 1-0, Chris.
Great guys.
Chris,
that's excellent.
Chris, the one night you're missing, I don't think we've ever had a podcast where we've had as many viewers and as many comments in the first, what are we talking here, half an hour. Now, and it's you can tell by the result, you can tell by what the criteria is of tonight's topic. And we kind of got to the stage where we were talking about the game, and and Rory Gilson raised the point that it started a hot debate of, do you stick or twist now? What I'm not saying, I'm not putting you on the spot, you don't know that, but can you understand the reasoning? Because we had come in here, we were talking about, myself and Steph were saying about 8 or 9 months ago, people were actually calling for a den. And we kind of thought at the time it was a little bit airy, let's give it a little bit of time. But now are we seriously looking down the barrel of saying, especially with everything that's happened, Brian Ainscott's obviously someone that's, he's very direct in what he does. Martin Connolly, obviously, we didn't even get talking about Martin Connolly in our last show on Friday night because we didn't have one. But, are we going to have is there going to be serious changes? Or is it a case of let's get the next couple of games out of the way and see what happens? Or will we even get, if they go out, it's somebody to raise the point, I can't find it, but if we go out and play anywhere near tonight, like on Friday night, he mightn't even get a lift home to Oriel Park. That's kind of what we're talking about. It's so poor. Like, Steph was at the game. It's such a poor night for the team in general. I don't know what you've heard, Chris, but what's going by the socials? You were obviously up in Park Park, but who cares about them?
Well, Alan Cawley was on co-coms here tonight, and I told him to score at half time, and he just looked at me with shock going, how? And then we looked back at the goals, and he was like, it's just mistake after mistake, and we're just punished. And he said, well, I'm not surprised because Dundalk were a mile off it against Galway, got away with a 2-0 loss that night, and it should have been more. It's probably a massive test to the ownership now of what their vision of Dundalk. What is that? Do you stick with Stephen O'Donnell, who's assembled this squad, and you give him a bit of time to see if he can get a tune out of this? But my fear is in that also, the longer you let it go on, like I say, you're going away to Inchicore now on Friday. Yeah. You're going into the 4th game of the season. You still haven't won. Everyone else has. Shamrock Rovers haven't, of course. But, at least they're picking up a couple of points. We're not doing that. Yeah. like when I look back and I seen the goals tonight, lads, I was like, what is going on? And I'm looking at half time and I'm seeing them, switching keepers and making substitutes halfway through the first half. I just like, it's car crash football in a way, isn't it? It's not what you want to see, especially at the start of a season and stuff like that, where you're trying to bed lads in. Like I watched Shells tonight and they weren't great at times, but they went and they got a goal, and the rest of that was just playing Damien Duff football, which just nullified what Galway could do. They passed it out, they kept the ball when it needed to, stretch the game. When they needed to just knock it long, they just rolled it back to Paddy Barrett and he just wound up the foot, knocked it long, and just gave the defence a bit of a bit more time. And I looked in at our goals, and I'm just, it's every time people are lunging at the ball. Boiler didn't know if keepers were coming or not, and players are running in between those channels. We've seen that in the Drogheda match pre-season, similar sort of a thing. It just looks like there's no communication at the back at the moment. And unfortunately this year in the Premier Division, there is no easy game. There's nobody saying, right, get to play a UCD or get to play a Finn Harpsey and we'll get some points on the board at least. If we're not at the moment, I would say our first two home games there, we haven't played as well as we need to be playing at home. And Damien Duff in his post-match comments tonight said if you to win games you have to score goals, but first and foremost you have to make yourself hard to beat. And that's what he's done with Shelburne. And we have a very, very soft underbelly in Dundalk Football Club right now, and that's been exploited by every team now. They're looking at us. We probably, in hindsight, we got away with one in Tallaght. That did Shamrock Rovers show us a little too much respect that night, and maybe because we had so many new players there, they were unknown, and we got away with one. But since then, since that Galway match in particular, people have kind of seen an easy way to play through Dundalk, and it's very direct. It's a lot central, and we shouldn't be that easy to play through.
I think that you're right, Chris. That game against Rovers, look, albeit Rovers have gone and haven't got off to a great start either, but I'd not let us. It's not a false kind of start or a false dawn, but that team against Rovers. I mean, I thought we played really well. We're still at the early stage of the season, but it's almost you can predict what's coming. You can almost see. Sorry, Steph, Kevin. I can't see the top of your head now. Sorry, Kevin. I got your comments up for long, and I'll have to get Steph in full view. But yeah, look, it's.
It was a false start.
Yeah, it is a false start. That's what it is, isn't it? Like, I mean, we sat here after the Rovers game. Look, we didn't think we were going to pull up trees right now, win anything, but unfortunately, we're back to this thing of is it working as a concept? Is it working? Like somebody had said, Stephen O'Donnell could be too emotional for the job. I think there was a comment there as well. I think that was in Kevin's actually, and that could be a very fair point. You might need someone to come in and is just, I'm not saying he's willing to get, kill players for having bad games, but he maybe, I don't know if he's too connected. I don't know. That's what kind of you have that connection with clubs you coach, but there's definitely something just not working. I mean, that's probably the only blunt way you can put it. You don't need to get too tactical with it or too punditry with it. It's just not working at the minute. And like, I'm just looking at the fixtures. You've Pats away, then you've Waterford at home, you've Shelburne away, and then you've Drogheda at Oriel Park on the 1st of April. And that's 4 games in the next, what are we talking, 3.5 weeks, that will more than likely determine what happens here. I don't see anything going past the 1st of April. I really don't, and that's just like, even if it goes that far, I could be being very optimistic. I could have a touch of Steph McKevitt's there with the optimism, but I mean that's the next. Long gone, by unfortunately by April Fool's Day, I think one way or another we're going to be looking down either right he's turned it here, or we could be already onto someone by then. I don't think that's been too harsh.
Last season, you were sort of looking at the UCDs and the Cork cities, expecting the points. Like Waterford and Galway have replaced them, and just look how well they've started. Waterford had a smashing win against Pats 3-1 tonight in Galway. Chris will probably tell you more, but a few reports I've seen, they're probably the better side, although Shells are going to win an awful lot of games. 1-0 this season, I've no doubt about it. If they get their noses in front, they're going to be hard to beat. But just have to get in a flashback. I tried to blank it out of my memory there, but one of the lads I work with showed me the program at halftime, and Shelby's in it, and the headline was we won a challenge for the title this season. So, like, you know, after 2-3 games, someone should be fucking pulling them aside. Like, look, fucking I'm all for that confidence and that, but, you know, you're putting yourself up there to be shot at. And then if you're going to be producing something like that, like, it was a laugh and a joke then at that stage. We're 4-0 down, like. But everything that could have went wrong tonight, just no spark or anything. So it's a tough one to take, and it's hard to see a way out now at the minute. And look, you're after reeling off the fixtures there. Like, after tonight, you're struggling to see where a point will come out of. Never mind a handful of them.
Chris,
Steph, can I just ask, like, if you're in that defence now, like, are you looking for Steve?
He might be if he gets himself fit.
But like, do you double down now? Just make yourself hard to beat. Maybe put 5 into the defence and inch a core, and hope you can hold out, and maybe try to hit something on a counter. Because trying to play any sort of expansive football is coming to the detriment of this team right now. So I'm just wondering, do you just shut up shop and just put numbers and bodies in there to make it harder for you to be played through?
Yeah, like, Bradshaw seemed to be putting himself about, and I missed the Galway game, but tonight he was putting himself about. And the Rovers game as well, we know he's picked up a couple of yellow cards. He was sort of shielding the back four, but you know, they seemed too wide open. Like, Mata was either sticking to the one of the centre halves, Boyle or Mayowa, and then he was just drifting off them, and they were just watching the ball, and you were just saying, like, they were nearly 2 straight instead of like one dropping and covering each other. Like, he was in 3-4 times, bar the wind slowing up the ball a good bit. He could have been in 2 or 3 more times as well, couldn't he, Gally? Yeah. Easily, like.
Oh, absolutely.
And Chapman and Hartman was the same. You know, it was 2 or 3 times we nearly got out of jail because the wind sort of held the ball up. It just looked like there was too much space between the 2 centre backs, and that's where a lot of the joy came from. And it wasn't even, you know, amazing balls being put through or anything like that. You know, it was basic balls, and we were just getting caught out. Boyle looked very sluggish at times. We know he's not a spring chicken anymore, and that ball in behind just, you know, was going to be a big danger the whole time. Mayowa just seemed way too far. Like, it's a far cry from the opening night where the 2 of them were throwing their bodies in front of stuff and covering each other, and you know, you could see it on the TV, the talking that was happening between the 2 of them. Like, it was just like 2 lads that were put out there that, you know, never seen each other before, and it was just a horror show. That's all I can use to describe it.
It's one of them, lads. It's that poor you don't know what to say. Do you know what I mean? And you know it's you don't even know how to describe it, because it'd be different if you were kind of half in the game, or it just wasn't your night. You know, if you've even walked the keeper. I think somebody said, is it 40 minutes? The first 45 minutes, 40 minutes for first shot. You know, we just never, and we knew after 30 seconds. Like, obviously, Chris, you hadn't seen the game, but after about 25 seconds, Max Mata had split the 2 boys at the back, and it was just a sign of things to come. And it's just, I really fear for us now over the next couple of weeks. I mean, those games have reeled off. That's all happening inside a month, and it's going to be a long old march, I think.
Yeah, look, I suppose the other thing is, you could say they've nearly a full week now, you know, in training, looking towards this Pats match. I suppose the other thing is, I'm only thinking back when
we had about 9 days to prepare for tonight, Chris.
You're preparing for Bowes match and then the Bowes match.
Yeah.
So you know, your game plan is always it's going to have to be a quick turnaround for this. But you know, when we had Tom on for the opening game of the season, and you know, we were talking about positioning and everything else that Shelby had and looked decent and commanding. What's that going to say now for his confidence? You know, he played poorly, gets whipped off at half time. You know, what does Skip do now? Like, who does he start with? And are we going to be in one of those situations where we're going to start flip-flopping between keepers? That's not going to put confidence into a back line either, because different keepers have different ways of playing. So someone that quicker off the line, someone that gather the ball. So which is which?
He couldn't have stayed on after that first half. He caused the 3 goals in my opinion. Monroe actually looked assured, if you can say that. I know we conceded 1, but he'd no chance with it. But yeah, I think he'll go with Monroe now, to be honest with you, because Shelby was all over the shop, to be honest. He's just spilt one into his own net, which won't give him any confidence, and then it just got worse from there. So I think, look, he's talking about at half time, so I'd say he's going to go with Monroe for the Pats game.
Like, it's a big challenge for him, though, isn't it? Like, picking a player back up off the floor like that, because obviously he hasn't played well, like you say. You know, his head's down at half time. He gets pulled. Like, how do you motivate him now during the week? It's going to be a big task for him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't envy him.
Yeah, exactly. But look, if he wants to get on in this game, he's going to have to pick himself up. Like, you know, these boys are professional footballers. They're getting paid. That's their job. So if he wants to progress in this game, he's going to get setbacks. And look, he's a young lad as well, so you'd like to think he'd bounce back, but he definitely had to get taken out. Just the way it was going, like, you know, the second half, if he made the same mistakes, you're looking at a proper embarrassment, like, and there might have been no going back from that. So look, he might have protected him a wee bit by taking him off at half time, in my opinion.
And then you could go down the road of whether Steve, you know, would you be stubborn with it and say, no, well, you know, I'm going to put him in. But then if he has another mare of a start, you know, on a Friday, like you say, Monroe stood up, seemed to stand up a little bit taller as a keeper in the second half. Now, look, you're comparing it to the first half. But I mean, you know, I think I would have had a game at it. But yeah, I think I agree with Stephen. I think he'll probably go with Monroe, because I think he's probably got nothing to lose now. I just think the game that George Shelby's had tonight, I just think maybe, I think definitely a change for Friday night. It's just where you go with the rest of them. You know, I get a good point there as well. You know, if Mayo was injured, concussed, you know, you could be looking at 5 at the back, like you said earlier on, lads, and you know, could it be a chance for someone like it?
I think that's the way to go, though, Gally. I think that's the way to go. I think you're flooded with defenders now. You probably get Ansley in as well. At least he's played beside Boyler before. You got some sort of a recognition of a partnership there, but you just, like, from where we are right now, I think we'll all take being kind of stubborn and hard to play through over the next few games, even if we're not winning, but we just see we're not rolling over and being the whipping boys or anything like that, or teams just are really easy to play through. I think that's what you're looking for, is just be stubborn now. And, like, did I see Sam Durant come on a couple of chances in the second half? Like, he's probably giving him a shout now for a start.
Yeah, you'd have to imagine Durant. He looked like the only one that was a bit lively. He should have scored, actually. He had a good chance to score. But, yeah, look, there needs to be a change up. The first thing you saw, like Chris said, you saw it at the back line. Stop leaking goals. Just worry about scoring goals. Like, you know, you'll get a chance or two in a game, but just stop the rod at the minute, because, you know, conceding goals there for fun. Like you said, Galway scored twice, and it could have been 4 or 5 tonight. They take their chances, and it could have been more as well. So, you know, just make yourself hard to beat, and then walk from there. That's the base. Any good team's built off a base of not conceding. Just the old saying, strikers win games, defenders win leagues. Well, I know we're not looking at winning leagues, but that's the truth of it. You need to build your fucking solid line at the back. Crushed again, sorry.
Sorry, Chris, you want to come in there? Sorry.
No, but I can if you want.
No, I was actually going to get back to it because Rory has set the tone for the night. Rory Gilson has set the tone with the questions for the night, the stick or twist. So are we, Chris, just from yourself, would you stick, obviously Friday night's coming up and quick, but you'd be sticking for now and then maybe you're hoping maybe on it's not an absolute embarrassment on Friday night maybe.
Yeah, I'd be very, very surprised if Stephen's not there for Friday.
Yeah.
I think you would give, like, the international break's not that far away. It's it's in around that 24th of March. You're probably looking, if you're going to do anything, you're probably looking at that time, at that international break, if you're going to do something. But, the other side of that is you're probably thinking, Stephen, there's no transfer window open. We're not going to be able to bring in any more players. So do you stick with the manager who has brought in these players and has had the faith in these players to bring them in, and has obviously seen something in them, and might be able to get the best out of them? Yeah, like maybe, like I say, I just think there's a back to basics is needed right now from Dundalk. Just be flooded with numbers. Every time there's a ball, just get men around it, and just don't make yourself. Even if we have to play a sort of sweeper role with Boiler or something that's slightly behind Ansley and somebody else, whether that's Muller or whoever, just so you can't just play a square ball in behind us and they're just outpacing our defence and we're lying flat every time. If that's what's needed, then that's what we do. The only thing I will say was what we've seen with Monroe in pre-season. He's very quick off his line. He was a little bit too quick in the Drogheda match and kind of got caught out on it. But he's far more of a sweeper keeper in that sense. So that might be something that they could build on and try to use as a tactic maybe. But yeah, it's hit the reset button this week for me, and that's what's needed. And back to basics and start just do the basics well, because from what I've seen there tonight with a litany of mistakes, we're not doing those basics right, and that's costing us football matches. So scratch everything, back to basics. If it's boring, who cares? If it's not expansive, who cares? Just be far more compact and back to basics on everything. And if that doesn't work, and if we're not doing that, players don't seem to be able to do that, then that's a different question. And then for me, then you're looking at maybe needing to make a change. But I think you hit the reset button there for this week, and you just go back to basics.
You've given him the dreaded vote of confidence there, Chris.
I never said that now.
It's a vote of confidence till Friday, is it? Well, I suppose it's not even a vote of confidence Friday. It's just let's get Friday out of the way. I don't know if it can come quick enough or better out of the way. Yeah, a reset. That's what we're going to call tonight's podcast. Reset. That's it's a massive change from Shamrock Rovers when it was optimistic 24. We'd have to get rid of that hashtag.
This is nearly a meltdown all over again, though.
Meltdown.
I think that's Chris has hit the nail. Just before, I know I'm very wary it's a school night. We don't want to keep everybody up all night. But yeah, Chris, I think we're probably. I hate to use the word on the fence, but I mean, that is probably the best way to go. Reset for Friday night. Just let's see if we can keep the ball out of our net long enough to create some chances. That's probably, and like Richmond Park is not an easy spot to go to.
I'm probably only this optimistic because I haven't watched the whole game. I'm sure.
We'll give you the benefit on that one.
I think that's what I was going to say. I appreciate you haven't seen the whole game, so I think it's going to take a lot more than do the basics right. But we'll let you have the wee bit of optimism tonight, Crystal.
Thanks, Steph. Passing the baton.
Passing it up here.
Well, lads, look, I think we peaked at about 130 people there, and it's for a live show. It's pretty decent on a Monday night, and it's the game that's in it. That's probably unfortunately brought out the crowds. And look, that's what live podcasting is all about, especially post-match up in Oriel Park. But look, obviously, if anybody's waiting for a pizza, there's absolutely no way I'm going to make Vinny DeLuca make a pizza for anybody after tonight's match. So we're not going to we might give away, if it's a cracking game on tour, we might even bunch in, we get 2 pizzas for Friday night, we pay for one ourselves. But folks, look at Steph, thanks for coming on. Chris, I know you're driving home from Talca Park there, but thanks for coming on.
Sorry, I'm on Friday, so maybe the fact that I'm there,
you'll be live. Yeah, you'll get that means you'll have the post match for us before everybody else. So you need to keep us depending how it goes. So yeah, look, thanks to our sponsors, Dundalk Village. Thanks to Playoff Fit for the gear, which I don't have on me because I wasn't even going to bother getting changed after that result. And thanks to Tony, we'll look after him on Friday night. And thanks for everybody comments. Great comments, great discussion. Obviously, the topic of the night is, look, do you stick or twist? But for now, I think from us Egypts here, we'll stick probably until Friday night, or sticky twisting, I suppose. But look, until Friday night, I suppose we have to say again, look, come on.